There are two servos we recommend for this airplane. Both of them are high-techs, the HS45HB and the HS65. The HS65 is available in two versions, HB, which means a Lexan plastic gear, and MG, which means a metal gear. Now, which one should you pick? Well, first off, you should pick one of these two servos. You'll see out in the market some competing servos for even as little as $3 to $5. Don't try it. A servo that's going to work in this airplane and going to work properly is going to cost $20, maybe $25. If you want the top of the line metal gear HS65, $34. That's what good servos cost. A bad servo will make the plane fly badly. So these are the servos you should choose from in our recommendation. They're going to work well. They have good warranty coverage. If you need tech assistance, you can call High Tech, or you can send the servo in and they'll take care of you. So we recommend that you use one of these two servos, either HS45HB or an HS65. Now, if you'll notice, the HS45HB has a long servo lead and the 65 has a shorter lead. This is important because the HS45HB is a lighter servo. It has a longer lead made of lighter gauge wire, so it requires a shorter extension. This adds up to quite a bit of difference in weight between a set of 4 HS45HBs and a set of 4 HS65s. The difference between a set of 4 of the smaller servo with the leads it requires and a set of the larger with the leads they require is 1 to 1.25 ounces, depending on which HS65 you choose. So, like we mentioned before in this build video sequence, people are always asking, how do I get my plane as light as possible? This is a good way to do it. The HS45HB. This is a neat little servo unit. It's very tall. It has very tall gears. It also has a slip knot strip clutch system so that in most mishaps and crashes, the gears will slip inside the servo case instead of stripping or breaking. Now, it is a smaller, lighter servo than the HS65, and overall it's not quite as rugged. If you crash a lot, or if you're going to do a lot of really low, crazy stuff, and you plan on catching this airplane in the grass or things like that, then you may want to go for the HS65. You will have a little bit of weight penalty on the airplane, 1 to 1.25 ounces. Okay? Either one of these is a reasonable choice. We're going to be installing the HS45HBs today. If you do elect to install the HS65s, I'll give you a few notes about them. First off, this is the correct arm. It's the long single-sided arm that comes in the HS65 case. This is what you want, okay? And you also want to use the outermost hole, all right? So we'll go through the procedure of installing a servo using the HS45. If you do the 65s, you're going to be using this arm, and you're going to be using the outermost hole. Now, the Edge aircraft has the servo locations pre-cut, and we're going to be removing the covering over the servo locations. But because we use both of these servos in the aircraft, we cannot cut the servo openings to exactly the right size. If you look at the size of these two servos, they are not exactly the same. Okay, so the hole in the aircraft is going to require a little bit of modification based on which servo you choose. If you choose the HS45, you're going to have to lengthen the hole a little bit. If you choose the 65, you're going to have to widen the hole a little bit. A lot of people, they think that servos are supposed to drop directly into the hole in the aircraft. Yes, that's true if there's only one recommended servo. If you have 2 recommended servos to give people maximum flexibility and the servos are different size, then you can't have a drop in the hole. Think about it. So you're going to have to do a little bit of trimming on the servo openings on the aircraft depending on which servo you choose. All right? Now, this is the arm that comes with the HS45HB. It's a long double-sided arm. This is the arm we're going to use on the Edge, but we're only going to use one side of it. We're going to trim it, and we're also going to install our servo connector, and this is what we're going to make. When we're all done, this is what it will look like. So we're going to start off our modifications of our HS45HB servo arm by cutting off one side. we now have a single-sided arm. Now, in the HS45 HB servo arm, there are 5 separate holes, and they're very small diameter. These are intended for a wire pushrod end. Well, we're not going to use a wire pushrod end. The kit includes an adjustable servo arm connector that we're going to be installing. There's 5 holes here. When you go to install your connector, you're going to use the 3rd hole. Now, because there's 5, that means it's number 3 no matter which side you start counting from. It's the middle hole. So this is the hole we're going to install our servo connector in, the number 3. This is the servo connector that comes in your kit. It has several pieces. It's a screw together design. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to unscrew the round nut and take the 2 washers off. And here's the connector itself. Okay? So this threaded section is what goes through the servo arm. So we're going to have to make the hole in the servo arm the right size to fit that piece, and then we'll install it. What we do is we take an X-Acto and we use it as a drill. We just spin it in the servo arm, and you can see a little bit of the white nylon plastic comes out, and we go from the other side. And if you can see this, we've made the hole larger. Now, it'll probably take a couple of tries for you to get exactly the right size. Yep, we're not quite large enough yet. So we'll take our X-Acto knife, we'll spin it in the hole once again. The other side. We want to try to go equally from the 2 sides. Not quite yet. Trim off any flashing left behind by our drilling operation. Okay, now the connector drops through. Okay, so now we've got the right size.